am Superman of Doom. The people of the Motherland have come, and fortunately I am Superman of Doom Chapter 25. Today, it's the Federal College entrance examination. Laugh at. A screeching and abrupt brake sound suddenly sounded outside the house, and the car horn sounded impatiently. Chen Hong, Tifa's exclusive driver and agent, walked down from the car speechlessly. When the vehicle rushed all the way to the school gate ignoring the ticket, it was close to the time when the Federal College entrance examination began. Almost stepping on time, Dreamy Foot locked in and entered the school gate where armed agents with guns were stationed. Pan Hu, who had been waiting at the door of the teaching building for a long time, almost jumped up when he saw the two appear, and excitedly stepped forward and grabbed Yiming's arm. Boss. I'm in a hurry. I thought you weren't coming to the college entrance examination. Yi Meng smiled indifferently. In fact, after knowing the truth of the real world, he really didn't want to take the Federal College entrance examination. However, another changed his mind. Yi Meng looked at Tifa next to him, and the girl also looked at him with a smile, clenched her fists and cheered up. Come on, let others see your excellence. Quote. Okay. 2. There's really no time. Pan Hu smiled bitterly, caught off guard by the mouthful of dog food that was fed. Let's go. This is our last day as high school students. Yi Meng waved his hand. Obviously he was basically sleeping this week, but he didn't panic at all. Wang Xuan, who had been sitting in the classroom of the examination room earlier, watched the three people walk through the corridor, and smiled coldly and became serious. After the Federal College entrance examination, the gap between different classes will become more and more obvious. And he will always stand at the high position of capital that is difficult for those people to touch. Meng Tifa, after today, you will regret that you chose him. Wang Xuan secretly said in his heart. Bell. After the bell, the teaching building, one of the Federal College entrance examination venues, was silent. And a group of armed agents with guns stood on the periphery to prohibit everyone from approaching and breaking in. The Federal College entrance examination is only one day. After today, the fate of many students will change decisively. That day, Trina City, Supernatural Department. An agent suddenly shouted in horror, Inspector. Federal satellites are sending feedback that an invasion is occurring in the city. What? The middle-aged inspector's face changed. Under normal circumstances, it is difficult for satellites to detect the invasion in the first place. Unless the size of the invasion creation is beyond imagination. He suppressed the fear in his heart and asked, where did the satellite detect that the invasion occurred? High schools in this city, more precisely, 100 meters above the school. 0029 Federal College entrance examination. Shock. Yi Meng entered the college entrance examination room he was assigned to. Coincidentally, Meng Tifa also happened to be in the same examination room, and the two seats were only less than 5 meters apart. Tifa winked at him, raised her admission ticket, and stepped into the classroom first. Isn't that a coincidence? Yi Meng was happy, also handed over the admission ticket to pass the identity verification at the classroom door, and sat down in his seat with the other students who had been waiting for the exam to begin. Each classroom has 30 candidates, seated about 2 meters apart from each other. Not only are gunmen stationed outside the school, but armed agents patrol the corridors. Each classroom is equipped with 3 invigilators, real-time monitoring of classroom corners one after the other, and now all exams have been replaced with computerized online exams, almost completely eliminating candidates cheating in the college entrance examination, which also shows how much the Star Dragon Federation attaches importance to the college entrance examination. But in Yimen's opinion, it's almost equivalent to your own home turf. Of course, there is no need for Yimeng to cheat now. Time. Come to 9 o'clock in the morning. Bell. After the second school bell, the display screen on the candidate's desk pops up at the same time to the question page, and there is a 360-minute countdown. Yi Meng, who has already undergone more than a dozen mock exams, is not surprised by this. The Federal College entrance examination only takes 1 day, and it is a comprehensive examination paper for all subjects, and you need to answer all the questions within 6 hours. Including 8 knowledge, language, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, history, philosophy, and art. Answering 8 questions at once in 6 hours is also a great test for candidates' mental and psychological skills, as well as physical fitness. Especially Yi Meng, who is accustomed to exams in his previous life, has suffered a lot for this, but now he has no fear. Joke. If he pounced on the so-called college entrance examination, Yi Meng would be embarrassed to dream of artificial intelligence incarnation again. Less than 3 hours. Yi Meng finished answering all the college entrance examination questions, which was still his deliberate slowdown to speed down the questions. Otherwise he would behave too much like a man-machine brushing questions. At this time, other candidates in the examination room also buried their heads in front of the display screen and meditated. To Yiming's surprise, Tifa, who was sitting not far away, had already left the mouse key on the table. That guy, isn't it done? Yi Meng's mind moved, and a wisp of red static electricity invisible to the naked eye burst out from the center of his eyebrows and did not enter the computer host 5 meters away. Just a little confirmation. The corners of Yiming's eyes twitched slightly, thinking that if Tifa did something wrong, or wouldn't do it, he could also help. Unexpectedly, the other party has already done it, and it is basically a standard perfect answer, and it has been clicked to submit. This is the real top student. Meng shook his head. He still achieved this point through artificial intelligence characteristics. Otherwise, even if he was reborn once, he would not be able to do it to this extent. Meng secretly sighed, and he also clicked submit with his backhand. Halfway through the exam, you can submit your answers. However, the Federal College Entrance Examination has a clear rule that even if you submit the answers in advance, you cannot leave the examination room. And you must wait 6 hours to leave together. It is also the last time of high school, and Meng is still willing to wait. After the college entrance examination, even he did not fully plan what path to choose. At this time, halfway through the exam, it was noon. The bright golden sun of summer shines into the corridors and windows, and the school is quiet inside and outside. And on the side of the supernatural department, the moment of detection of the invasion was issued. Suddenly, the sunlight in the area of the high school building suddenly disappeared, as if obscured by a thick cumulus cloud. Not to mention the candidates who are still racking their brains to answer, even the internal and external supervisors and armed agents have not taken this change to heart. Except for Yimon and Tifa, who have already finished submitting the exam questions. Especially Meng, a little red static electricity disordered in the brain, radiating around the 10-meter range, and keenly sensed that something was wrong. A subtle sense of oppression came from above the head. Meng immediately stood up from her chair. In the examination room, a supervisor frowned and reminded, "This candidate, no movement is allowed during the exam, please sit back in your seat." Before the supervisor's words were finished, the computer screens in the examination room seemed to be disturbed, and all the screens showed the words, "No signal." The candidates who are still answering are immediately dumbfounded. What kind of trouble is this? Not only the college entrance examination room where Meng is located, but also the examination room of the entire teaching building, the network signal and communication are directly interrupted. At this time, at the school gate, a large shadow shrouded in a large shadow, a gun-wielding detective faintly felt something, raised his eyes in surprise, looked at the sky in surprise. And the next moment his eyes were dull and his mouth was wide open. His eyes reflected a round dark grey metal giant, blocking all the sunlight in the current school area, and plummeting downwards. "Quick! Run!" the gunman shouted in fear, but it was too late. "Get down!" In a classroom in the teaching building as an examination room, Meng reacted extremely quickly and left his seat, pounced the black-haired girl not far away, and pressed the other party to death under the table. The next moment, boom! The metal giants falling from the sky fell close to the teaching building, causing the city Earth in a radius of tens of kilometers to tremble. And the rush wave formed by the airwave set off a cloud of gravel and dust, and the school teaching building next to the giant fell the brunt. And many exterior walls and glass immediately collapsed and exploded inward. The students' screams were all suppressed by the loud noise, and their ears were lost. After 5 seconds, the sound died down. "Meng, are you all right?" In the dimly lit classroom filled with dust, Tifa hurriedly got up from the ground and held up the boy who was pressing him. With Amons and the table blocking her, she was not hurt by the shock waves. Other test takers were not so lucky. Tinnitus disappeared, screams and wails gradually became clear, everywhere. "I'm okay." Meng took a breath of dust and couldn't help but cough.